Hello everyone and welcome to another session on MLOps here at Gitlab. My name is Eduardo and this is the update for, what day is it? 14th of December. And today we're going to talk about pipelines, we're going to talk about Jupyter and further news on the industry. So just as started, remember the vision of the SEG of what I'm doing here is I want to make GitLab a tool where data scientists want to use it, not just have to use it, but want to use it. And we are doing that by looking at our portfolio and see where can we augment data science and machine learning engineers' workflow with GitLab. What can we update? What can we change to make their life better? So on that sense, let's begin with what was done this past week. Starting with Glitter. What is Glitter? Glitter is GitLab plus Jupyter. A very common workflow in data science is the data scientist goes and creates the model in the Jupyter notebook and does everything on the Jupyter notebook, and then it wants to put that model into production. But production doesn't really play well with Jupyter notebooks, and what happens is a machine learning engineer or a software engineer will usually pick this up, or the data scientist will will migrate that code from Jupyter into a Python script. But a lot is lost within this translation, or it can take a lot of time, or it doesn't really work as expected. So why not try to not move the code away from Jupyter? So this is where Glitter comes in. Glitter is a way of converting a Jupyter notebook, a sequence of cells, into a GitLab pipeline. And this week I created a POC for this. So this is part of our exploration series on GitLab pipelines for hyperparameter optimization. We're not really working on the hyperparameter on this step, but more on the Jupyter side. But it's really interesting. So suppose that I have this notebook over here. Very simple one, 3 steps. There's something here that is not being shown, but there is a cell over here. If I show the raw, here, there's a configuration part as well. And 3 steps. Prints hello 1, and then hello 2, and then hello 3. So what do? I come over here and I create a parent pipeline that calls Glitter, and Glitter parses this notebook into a YAML file, into a valid CI file, and then it runs. So it's a very simple script. It just picks up, for example, over here, this creates each step. This is very early concept, very POC. And then it creates a pipeline, which in turn calls Glitter run, which has a function that just executes the function within a cell within a notebook. So I pass a path and I pass a cell index, and then it's going to run just that piece of code. So what it looks like on the pipeline is this thing over here. So first it generates a notebook CI, then runs the notebook CI. And like I mentioned, there's one job for each cell. And for example, this is cell 0 job, prints hello 1, hello 1, hello 1 as expected. So there's a lot. This is a very early concept, of course. There's a lot to be done in here. For example, sharing state between cells, or running multiple cells as part of one job, or I don't know, plenty of stuff to help to move here. Manual events, better configuration. So instead of running sequentially, can I run some cells in parallel? So lots to be done over here, but I think it's a very promising start, and something that nobody's really doing actually. On the community, there's this big bias, or not bias, but line of thought that data science shouldn't be done, anything that is production shouldn't be done on a Jupyter notebook. And I think I kind of disagree with that I think if the team is comfortable with that, and wants to use Jupyter Notebooks, there's no reason why not. Sure, the problem is not the Jupyter Notebook, is the tooling and the lack of tooling that makes it complicated. So this is what we're tackling a bit over here. Then after the pipeline, we also worked on the Jupyter experience. Those are the two main lines of work we are looking at right now. We started by refactoring the code for the diff that we released before. So it was we wanted to publish something rather than really be thoughtful with the code base. But now that we have now that it is live and it is being used, we wanted to expand, and refactoring was important. And from user feedback, which was really good because it means users care about this. We know that we know that they still want the raw diff. They like the render diff, but the raw diff is still important. So what we're working now is a way to show both of them at the same time, which is a bit challenging because that means we need to know the conversion between line numbers so that we can comment on the right place. For example, if I comment on the raw diff, it should display on the correct place on the render diff and vice versa. So it's technically a lot more challenging, but nothing that can't be done. So we are working on this. It might take a while to get everything right, but it's really comforting that we are receiving this feedback, that users are caring about this. They care enough about the diffs that they come over and they ask questions, they talk about this. We are rendering about 12K Jupyter diffs per day, which is not a small number, considering it was never something we gave attention to. So 12K, it's quite a nice number. And we'll be building on top of it. Some extra, so Bailey shared on her Twitter. She is a director of AI or ML at GitHub, I believe. I can't remember correctly. She asked the community on Twitter, what is the one thing that it could change at GitHub for machine learning or data science? I linked the thread over here, so if you want to go over later, but the highlights are very interesting. Majority is Jupyter. Majority talks about either Jupyter diff or Jupyter rendering, one of those. It's clear this is a must, and it was clear for us already, but it's nice to keep receiving the signals that we are on the right track. And the second one that they requested a lot is improvements on GitHub Actions for machine learning and data science, and which is also something that we are working on, is our pipeline efforts, which is great. Like both of the things that users are asking the most is exactly what we are deciding to work on early on. So I'm very happy with that. And there was one comment that even mentioned GPU runner, GPU for actions, and it's great that we also have this already. So it was very interesting to read that, very improved the morale. So up next here, we'll finish the source map that I've been building. It's going well, and it should be done very quickly. At least implementing this on the library level, but integrating with GitLab might take a little bit while. Integrating with merge reviews, integrating with diffs, that might take a bit of time, but we are going on that direction. We want to create so we can use, meanwhile, while we don't, even the diff that we render is a markdown version, it doesn't show everything on the Jupyter. As a mitigation, we can try to render pretty diffs, like the notebooks in itself, using review apps. And I think on the next week, I'll be creating a POC for this, see how it goes. And we also have a few customer conversations happening up. So again, if you have ideas, if you're interested on what we are doing here, comment on the issue, subscribe to the the epic, to the update epic, and yeah, reach out if you have any ideas. Have a good one.